Now it's time to talk about scapular biomechanics. How very fun. So scapula is the shoulder blade, and we're going to look at how that moves. This is really not a great model, but it's okay. It's okay. These bolts don't let us do the movements very well, but they do a little bit. And these bungee cords are going to actually show that. So what we're going to look at is what happens when I lift my arm. And if you see it in the model, what's going to happen is something like this. There we go. It's not bad, to be honest. It's not bad. There is a problem, and we'll talk about that. So go ahead and reach behind and find the spine, the tip of the, not the spine, the tip of the shoulder blade at the bottom. And just let your arm hang. And then lift your arm and feel where that tip has gone. And what you'll feel is the tip has moved from about right there to about out here. It's moved sort of forward and down. And it's kind of in an arc. Whoop, this way, forward and down. So that's going to really kind of be the key of how this shoulder blade is moving. So the first thing that kind of happens is that the shoulder blade, and this is the piece the model really doesn't show very well, is the shoulder blade functions like a counterweight. Right? So as I lift the arm, that's not functioning as a counterweight. You see, if you can see that in the video, because the shoulder blade hasn't moved, now the ball joint has nothing to support it. So if there were no movement in the shoulder blade, this would dislocate very easily if I had to, do something like that. Now what happens to prevent that is the shoulder blade is going to rotate down and around the rib cage. And when it does that, it's going to reorient the socket to a more upwards position. Right? Can you see that? I hope that the socket is actually going from this orientation, a little bit forward and out, to down and forward, so it's more upwards. So the arm bone we're hanging, it's going to rotate as the arm swings up to give it more of a resting point, and that's going to actually allow us to transfer weight much more efficiently. Right? If it didn't have that contact, then it would have to transfer that force through muscles and ligaments. Not as efficient. So there's one important lesson. When you can use bony support, use bony support. So back to this idea of the counterweight. Now, I got distracted talking about the socket moving, but what is going to happen is it's like one of those construction cranes or something, that if the arm is an arm and a crane, there would be a counterweight over here to help lift it. So the shoulder blade itself functions like a counterweight. So you can think of the shoulder blade as actually dropping down as the arm rises. And that very image is going to give you quite almost instantaneous, easier arm movement. At least it does for me. So think about the shoulder blade dropping to swing the arm up. Drop, and then up, and then drop, then up. Go ahead and repeat that for a while, and then try the other arm. Now it doesn't just drop though. It's going to drop and swing forward because the rib cage is on a curve, right? So it's resting on the back of the rib cage where it's curving, and when it drops, it's going to actually swing forward around the rib cage a little bit. So it's the dropping piece that I can't really show in this model because it has a hinge. It's the swinging forward piece that I can show well because it has or it's got a pivot in the center of the bone. So it wouldn't work like that. It would actually slide more this way as opposed to straight rotation. So this is where the down and forward feeling is going to come from. Down and forward. So now if you get a friend to do this with, you can put your hands on their shoulder blades and have them lift their arms, and you will feel your hands swing that way. They'll just go whoop. And so you can start to imagine that as your own shoulder blades, right? Like I was standing touching the model in my interlude, which I thought was kind of funny. And that's what I do when I stand here and embody. I feel my own shoulder blades in some sense, feel them swing down and forward to lift the arm. And then I can imagine the weight actually traveling down the arm into the socket, which is now reoriented, into the shoulder blade, into the rib cage. Try that on both sides and see if you can relax the musculature to use those lines or chains of bony support. There you have it.
If you enjoyed this video, sign up for the Embody Space newsletter and share the link with a friend. You can also find original content on Facebook and Instagram.